that you've been enrolled into the program on emotional intelligence. All right. Okay. So let's move on to what we have today. So social empathy and social awareness. Empathy and social awareness. So that's what we're going to be looking at in today's section. Now, let's look at the lesson objectives. Our lesson objective is that we'd like to review emotional intelligence competencies again, and then we'd like to cultivate empathy and build strong relationship with team members, and acquire conflict resolution techniques and fostering a positive work environment. This is what we want to achieve, or these are the things we want to achieve by the end of this program. Okay, these are the things we want to achieve by the end of this program. Now, moving forward, let's have an overview of what emotional intelligence is all about. An overview of what emotional intelligence is all about. An overview of what emotional intelligence is all about. Now, emotional intelligence refers to the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotions both in oneself and in others. It encompasses a range of competencies that contribute to effective interpersonal relationships, personal well-being, and overall success in various areas of life. Now, this is just a review of what emotional intelligence is all about. We've been dealing with emotional intelligence for the past 16 hours or more. And in our study of emotional intelligence, we said emotional intelligence is about understanding your own emotions and understanding your ability to identify and understand your emotions, as well as understand the emotions of others, and then being able to manage both emotions to achieve desired goals. So how does that play its own role in empathy and social awareness within the organization? So now we're looking at application within the organization, right? Application of EI within the organization. Now, by Goleman's quantification of emotional intelligence, so he brought emotional intelligence to have principally 4 competencies, okay, where you have in the domains of personal competence and social competence. On the personal competence, you have self-awareness and self-management. On the social competence, you have social awareness and relationship management. And we've dealt with all of these in the past sections. Now, to summarize each of the sections in a brief, self-awareness has to do with building your self-confidence or having the knowledge of your self-confidence, being aware or awareness of your emotional state, recognizing your behavior impacts on others, then paying attention to how others influence your emotional state as well. So that's just a summary of self-awareness. Understanding your emotions, ability to identify your emotions, understand those emotions, know what causes those emotions, understanding the impact of these emotions on others, understanding the triggers that bring about these emotions in yourself also. Now you have the regulation, which is the self-management dimension, which is keeping disruptive emotions and impulses in check, acting in congruence with your values, handling change flexibly, pursuing goals and opportunities despite obstacles and setbacks. Then on the social competence, you have the social awareness, which comprises of picking up the mood in the room. So being able to understand the emotions of others, the mood that takes place within your environment, then hearing what others are going through, which is the empathy, and then hearing what the other person is really saying, paying attention, having to engage in active listening. Then you have relationship management, getting along well with others, handling conflict effectively, clearly expressing ideas and information, using sensitivity to another person's feeling, empathy to manage interactions successfully. All right, then moving forward, let's look at what is empathy. What is empathy? What is empathy? What is empathy? What is empathy? Empathy is the art of stepping imaginatively into the shoes of another person, understanding their feelings and perspective, and using that understanding to guide your actions. This is the definition given by Roman Kesnarik. This is the definition given by Roman Kesnarik. So what people think is empathy. People think airborne madness, feeling sorry for someone. This is what they think is empathy. What empathy actually is sensing other people's emotions, imagining how someone feels, imagine what someone is thinking, mirroring someone's feelings, identifying how a person is feeling, understanding another person's feelings, seeing things from another point of view, really listening to what others have to say, feeling overwhelmed by others' tragedy. This is what empathy is all about. And no business can actually thrive sustainably without having to put into practice empathy. Because with empathy, you will understand what really your customers want. With empathy, you understand what your stakeholders really want. With empathy, you will understand what your staff, your employees really want. You understand what your shareholders, your board of directors really want. So empathy is crucial in business development. Now we have three types of empathy. We have the cognitive empathy, we have the compassionate empathy, and we have the emotional empathy. The cognitive empathy has to do with perspective taking on intellectual level. The ability to understand how a person is feeling and what they might be thinking. Perspective taking on an intellectual level. So you imagine using your own intellect to think and imagine what the person could be going through. So with that reasoning, you're able to say, okay, this is my perception to this, and this is my perception to that. Then you have the emotional empathy, which is physically feeling what someone else is feeling, physically feeling how another person is feeling. That is, when we start to cry, when a dear friend is crying, this type of empathy helps us to build emotional connection with others, but can become dangerous when we are not able to manage our own distressing emotions. Then you have the compassionate emotion, which is the type of empathy that goes beyond mere understanding and moves on to help others. Is feeling with someone and taking supportive actions if needed and wanted. So compassionate empathy is when you find yourself in the shoe of the person and you are poised to help the person. Okay, so cognitive empathy is trying to understand what situation the person is using your own reasoning. The emotional empathy is feeling alongside with the person, but compassionate empathy is taking actions to help the person come out of the situation. Why is empathy so important? What are the benefits and practices? So let's look at first empathy components. You have see the world as others see it. You have understand others' feelings, appreciate and be non-judgmental to others, communicate your understanding. These are the things we want to see in empathy component. So why is it important? With empathy, you can see the world the way others see it, so you don't get biased. You're able to understand other people's feelings, and you know how to which position you want to take in handling the situation. It helps you to appreciate others and not be judgmental about whatever thing they are passing through per time, and helps you to communicate your understanding effectively. Now, let's quickly look at social awareness. Social awareness is the ability to understand people from their perspectives and empathize with what they feel. Likewise, it is a skill that recognizes, appreciates, and respects diverse backgrounds and differences. So the empathy is a subset of social awareness. Okay, empathy is a subset of what? Of social awareness. So if you look at what social awareness is all about, it's about, first of all, perspective taking, and then from perspective taking to empathy to appreciating diversity and respecting others. So in perspective taking, you want to, using your own intellect, have your perception to what is happening and how you can introduce assistance to the person. Then you have the empathy, which is putting yourself in this person's shoe. And then you have the appreciating diversity, which is more of understanding others in their from different backgrounds they are coming from and not judging them and not being sentimental about who they are and what they are. And you have respecting others irrespective of their different backgrounds. Okay. Now, what are the benefits of effective social awareness? It builds stronger relationship. It helps build stronger relationship with our peers. It helps to create positive climate that recognizes diversity. It promotes compassion and empathy towards other people. It improves social and emotional well-being, and it helps us understand each other's strengths and limitations. This particular slide is from the Philippine Mental Health Association Incorporated. This is where we got this information from, the referenced information. Okay, moving forward. Summarizing the benefits of empathy and social awareness to our organization. One, you have enhanced collaboration and teamwork. With empathy and social awareness, it is easy to have enhanced collaboration and teamwork, okay, within your organization. And then number two, you have improved engagement and satisfaction. That's very, very important, because now that there is empathy and there is social awareness, there will be improved employee engagement and satisfaction. Also, there will be effective leadership and management. When there is empathy, we have participative leadership, we have collaborative leadership, which makes leadership effective and management effective as well. You have improved customer service and client relationship. Yes, on the basis of stakeholder management, you get better. With stakeholder management, you get better. With improved service excellence, you get better. With client relationship. And then you also have that drives innovation and creativity. Of course, when there is teamwork, when there is a better climate for people to think and reason, then obviously you expect to see innovation and creativity driven positively. Then it also helps in conflict resolution and workplace harmony. Having known what the environment is, understanding the emotions that move on within the environment, you'll be able to set parameters and set standards on which on how those emotions can be well managed, well harnessed, and used productively. Then you have also that it helps organizations build reputation and brand image. Okay, so organizations with high empathy and social awareness, they are known to be corporately responsible, socially responsible. Okay, and that builds their reputation and builds the organization. All right. Okay, moving forward, we have also steps to cultivating empathy and building strong relationship in organization. Number one, engage in active listening. Engage in active listening. With active listening, you're sure to hear what the people are saying, the unspoken words, you hear everything, and you're able to apply empathy towards that domain. Then engage in empathy training. Okay, engage in empathy training. The next one, foster open communication, appreciation and recognition. Get to appreciate people and recognize them for the works they've done. It mustn't be very big achievement, but for every little achievement that people do, you appreciate them and give them recognition. So appreciate excellence, appreciate teamwork, appreciate work well done. Okay, then you have engage in team building activities. Encourage and engage in team building activities. Regular checks in to ensure that people are practicing what have been said to do, what have been said to do to improve on their empathy. We gave an assignment yesterday, personal assignment, that you should have a chart, your emotional intelligence chart, where you are going to have your mission, your vision, your mission, and then you look at your goals and objectives, and then look at the list all the emotions that will help you achieve your goals up to your vision, and then look at also emotions that currently prevalent in your own personal life that might not allow you to achieve your goals and vision. So you have to pay attention to those things and do them intentionally, right? Okay, then you have the flexibility and understanding. Be flexible and try as much as you can to understand people and the situations they find themselves. Encourage empathy within your theme. Engage in conflict resolution and lead by example. conflict resolution techniques. One thing we said in the first class or in previous classes is that where you have two or more people, there is possibility for conflict. So how do you handle conflict? According to the Thomas Kuhlman conflict model, the Thomas and Kuhlman's conflict model is a powerful way of looking at conflict management. Conflicts are painful for individuals, and it is an important test of managerial skills. Different people respond differently to conflict. Now, according to Thomas Kuhlman conflict model that we'll see on the screen, you have the assertiveness on the vertical axis, you have the cooperativeness on the horizontal axis. So when you have a plot of assertiveness and cooperativeness, then you have different dimensions. When assertiveness is high and cooperativeness is low, you tend to have competition. So you have more of competition within your team. So whenever you see competition, it simply means that people want to assert, people want to bring in their own views, and they don't want to cooperate. Okay, that's competing. Okay, so most often competition is you against them. Okay, competition is you against them, and it's mostly one. The people them are more like they are most likely to be higher in number than you, obviously. Okay, so it's you against them. All right. Then you have when assertiveness is low and cooperativeness is low. Then we'll now talk about avoiding. Both you and the people each try to avoid taking any step to solve the conflict or play any part in it. So everybody involved in the conflict try to avoid the conflict. Then you have when the assertiveness is high and cooperativeness is high, you then have collaboration. So everybody come together to develop a mutually beneficial solution. That's collaboration. And that's the one each and every one organization should be working towards. Then you have on the other side, when assertiveness is low and cooperativeness is also, cooperativeness is high, okay, cooperativeness is high, assertiveness is low, then you have accommodating. So you accommodate them. You accommodate them. So you accept the perspective of other party to call a truce. What if there is a compromise? Compromise is when there is a somewhat equilibrium. We reach a consensus that is acceptable to all. So a consensus that is acceptable to all parties involved, we call that compromise. So you can solve conflicts on the basis of competing, which in most cases is not the best. In fact, as much as you can, you need to try to move from the left side of the Kuhlman's conflict model. That's you need to move from competing and avoiding towards collaborating and accommodating. That's where you have the positive vibes coming in. That's where you turn conflicts into positive outcomes. But when you move more to competing and avoiding, you can even turn a positive opportunity to negative one. Okay, because here people are either competing to show off that yes, they know more, they have more, they can do more, and perhaps they might also want to say, okay, I'm not interested, I want to back off. So they will not be able to explore the opportunities involved in the conflict. Okay, but moving towards the right, it is easier to find opportunities within the conflict. Okay, it is easier to find opportunities within the conflict. Now, moving forward, strategies to fostering positive work environment. Number one, encourage open communication. Encourage open communication is key to having a positive environment and having the right information to communicate, having the right channels to communicate. Then you have promote work-life balance. Yes, by promoting work-life balance, we also foster positive work environment. Then you have recognition and appreciation, foster collaboration and teamwork, professional development and growth, encourage professional development and growth, encourage professional development and growth, create safe and inclusive environment, ensure that diversity is well managed, ensure that different backgrounds coming together are well managed, promote workplace awareness, establish clear expectations and goals, encourage innovation and creativity, and then lead by example. These are some of the ways to build positive work environment. Now let's look at perspective taking. Perspective taking refers to the cognitive and emotional process of understanding and considering the viewpoints, thoughts, and feelings of others. An emotional process of understanding and considering the viewpoints, thoughts, and feelings of others. It involves mentally stepping into someone else's shoe and imagining their experiences and perspective. Remember, we say it has to do with cognitive abilities. That stepping into someone's mental state and trying to imagine what they are feeling, what their views are, what their thoughts are. Okay, that is perspective taking. Key points on perspective taking: understanding is about understanding others' viewpoint, but more of using a mental process. Stepping into someone else's shoe, considering different perspectives, having understood what the person's viewpoint is, you now want to consider different perspectives to that. Then you have breaking down assumptions, improved communication, conflict resolution. It's about building relationships and collaboration. It's about cultural diversity, cultural sensitivity and inclusion. Okay, personal growth and learning, and leadership and influence. All right, this is all what the key points of perspective taking has to do. All right. All right. Now, strategies to enhancing, still on strategies to enhancing perspective taking. You have recognized bias and assumptions. Know when a situation becomes a bias or an assumption. Engage in active listening, empathetic imagination. Okay, seek diverse experiences, practice empathetic communication, ensure to handle cultural sensitivities. Okay, ensure to handle cultural sensitivities. Reflect on your own perspective. Ability to reflect on your own perspective is key. Seek for feedback, practice empathy in daily interactions, and engage in continuous learning. Engage in continuous learning. All right. In conclusion, empathy and social awareness are crucial aspects of emotional intelligence that contribute to personal and professional growth. By developing empathy, individuals can understand and share the emotions of others, fostering stronger relationships, effective communication, and conflict resolution. Social awareness allows individuals to recognize and understand the emotional needs of individuals and groups, promoting inclusiveness, cultural diversity, and a sense of belonging. Together, empathy and social awareness create a foundation for positive interpersonal interactions, collaboration, and leadership. By cultivating these skills, individuals can contribute to creating a more compassionate and empathetic society where understanding, respect, and empathy are valued. So these are more of what we do in the empathetic environment. Okay, so with empathy, we are sure to build stronger brands, stronger businesses, stronger team, and get better with our society. In one of today's class, we'll be looking at EI in business development, and then we'll understand why empathy is very, very important. Thank you so much, and see you in the next class. Thank you.